Were you followed? Good. These are the Grayson files. Tell no one. So, yes, they did it. Shut down the government. I mean, honestly, me, I honestly don't. I don't care what people do. You know, they can do whatever the hell they want. But you know, they can't hide the fact that this is the third time they've done this year. And I don't know, this is bad. This is really bad. And I mean, it's bad because you know the the Trump administration has been under so much scrutiny, so much public scrutiny that you know they've been forced to kind of do everything out in the open, and I feel like the writing is kind of on the wall for us. I feel like we're able to kind of figure out like what all is happening just through like all the mistakes. I mean, I'm gonna call them mistakes because by the standards of politics up till like the Obama era or whatever, you know, politicians are pretty much like they take their jobs seriously, and most politicians, like when they're affected by one little scandal, they quit and they take public opinion very seriously because they don't want to damage the party or whatever. And I feel like that's just not the case anymore. And for me, I don't care, but we're all affected because when people act so crazy, when they have no regard for anything, you know, whatever message they put out there, it matters. And you know, you can end up with a school shooting the next day. You can end up with a hate crime, all because one person said it was okay to do a thing or something. I don't know. It's just not. It's not. It's not safe because you look to these people to kind of lead us, and I don't know. To be honest, I'm kind of disappointed with the way Paul Ryan has led us. Um, I think he fell from the sky, and he fell from political heaven. I think he's messed up he's messed up big time. Maybe I mean, to me, I want to say that I feel like he's gotten involved with this Trump thing. That's what it's starting to look like, or maybe he wasn't on it from the beginning. I mean, there's just no way to tell. But anyway, go ahead and take a look. All right, let's start from the beginning, shall we? All right. Here's the first thing I want to talk about. Because look, I mean, all you need is this week. I mean, there's plenty of crazy to go around. Plenty of crazy events occurring, have you? But I wanna focus on this week, just this week alone. Things that happened this week. Let's start with Paul Ryan. What he did at the beginning of the week. Um, so on, I want to say, was this week? Maybe it was last week. It could have been last week, but I mean, it could have also been the last 7 days. Who knows? Actually, no, 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 no. But when was this? December 13th. Today is the 23rd. Oh, this was December 12th, and it's the 23rd. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because the government is shut down, and you know what? Who cares? But, but I guess you could say this week was when he panicked, maybe. But look, December 12th, about what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 days ago. Paul Ryan decides that he wants to try and stop the vote on Yemen. The thing is, Bernie Sanders and company, there was a bipartisan effort to try and stop the war in Yemen, the support of Saudi Arabia fighting the war in Yemen, whatever. I don't want to say the war in Yemen because I'm so tired of saying the war in or whatever. Um, no, they were trying to end the support of the Saudis attacking Yemen. And after what happened with Jamal Khashoggi, it was clear that it was pretty much crystal clear that people couldn't support this anymore. Basically because for one, the Saudis are out of control. The prince, whatever his name is, he's out of clearly he's lost his grip on reality. Um, Second, they don't respect us. They don't respect us at all. Jamal Khashoggi was he was a resident of the United States, and I mean he was murdered by a prince, and we almost did nothing about it. Oh boy, not even tell me. Sorry, I have to use ad blocks just for protection, because I don't want like a bunch of stuff, but I will gladly support the nation. I really like them a lot. So here's what Paul Ryan did, and this was what did we say 11 days ago? Paul Ryan, who is on his way out, he is retiring. He is pretty much, I mean, for now he's out of politics, and I think he's probably gonna run for president. That's for damn sure. Um, and you know what? I'm just gonna tell you the truth. And that's if he's not implicated in this Trump Russia thing, because at this point, we've got the before and after. We've got whoever did this and whoever supported the cover up. Because you know what? That golden egg that Trump laid, it was just too valuable for some. So here we have this article. So it's talking about how everyone was demanding that the Saudis stop bombing Yemen, and so Paul Ryan hides. Okay, he decides to hide a resolution in another bill that was on the verge of being passed. Now, I haven't looked at the details of this whole thing, but it doesn't. You don't. You can pretty much put two and two together. I mean, someone probably asked him to, maybe someone in the Republican Party, who knows, someone clearly asked him to make this go away, and he decided to do this sneaky, underhanded thing. So let's read some of this article. A 60-39 vote to advance the bipartisan effort by Senator Bernie Sanders, Chris Murphy, and Mike Lee to involve the War Powers Authority of the Congress to constrain military interventions and engagements by the executive branch cleared that way for a 56-41 vote on Thursday in favor of the SJ resolution, a joint resolution to direct the removal of United States armed forces from hostiles in the Republic of Yemen that have not been authorized by Congress. So this thing, it didn't work. What he tried to do, it actually got passed. And so here's what he tried to do. Let's go ahead and bring up the next article. So let's read on. Ryan, who has made a career railing against assistance for society's most vulnerable, clearly is no more capable of empathizing with his fellow citizens than he is with millions of Yemeni Civilians who today find themselves, through no fault of their own, under savage siege by the militaries of Saudi Arabia and the United States Emirates. Wait, is this the right? This is from no. This is from November. Okay, my bad. Um, Here it is. Let's read on over at the Examiner. Um, House Speaker Paul Ryan on Wednesday pushed the language through the House that will prevent lawmakers from taking up any resolution to end up U.S. support for the war in Yemen this year. The language was passed just as the Senate was set to start debate on a resolution that aims to end U.S. involvement in Yemen, a response to anger over Saudi Arabia's involvement in the death of dissident Jamal Khashoggi. The provision was tucked into the rule for the 2018 Farm Bill, which governs how the Farm Bill will be debated and voted on. Rules are approved by the House Rules Committee, also known as the Speaker's Committee, because it's stacked in favor of the majority and usually takes direction from the House Speaker. Rules for legislation normally pass easily on the strength of support from the majority party, but on Wednesday, 18 Republicans balked because of the inclusion of the Yemen language. It passed narrowly in a 206 to 203 vote, and 17 Republican lawmakers didn't vote at all. Both signs that the language nearly put the Farm Bill at risk of not advancing. The rule said a section of the War Powers Resolution won't apply for the rest of the current Congress to any resolution related to Yemen. That effectively prevents the House from taking up the Senate resolution should it pass. So there you go. I mean, he basically up and decided that he would try to sneak a rule into another bill. Oh, here we have the bill. You know what? Let's go ahead and give this a read. H resolution, conference report, and company, HR2, Agriculture Act of 2018. And then here's provides for consideration report. So I mean basically was tinkering and messing with the rules of how the Congress works, not even anything to do with the bill, just messing with the rules. And apparently, he added some resolution that included something to do with war. I mean, how crazy is that? Just insane if you think about it. It's insane. And so this is what he did last week. This is what he did. This is what led up to this week, which was already crazy in itself. I mean, this week went by so fast. Nobody even had a minute to like consider. You have to remember this. This week, no one knew the government was going to shut down. I mean, it was a possibility, but they basically ambushed, like, they ambushed us. They decided that they were gonna do the surprise attack and decide that they were all for the border wall right now. And, you know, that's what, I don't know. And so that was last week. So then when this was wow, I can't believe this. Okay, the resignation letter was released 2 days ago. I mean, I'm so confused because I can't even keep track of anything anymore. Um, when did James Mattis resign? Okay, December 20. Oh no, I keep doing that. I need to stop using the other numbers. Oh wow, jeez, this was like 2 days ago, man. I gotta admit, he's a sneaky one. He did get past me a little bit. Okay, so we'll be looking at this more as we go on. Now then, where did we leave off? So, I mean, let's just put this in. Let's try to imagine this, shall we? Like, okay, imagine the White House, and this was 3 days ago, so it's what, Tuesday? Today's Sunday. Sunday, 1, 2, 3. Okay, this was Thursday. Wow, that's insane. Okay, this was Thursday. Okay, imagine Thursday and no, let's start with Wednesday. Okay, so Wednesday was either Wednesday or Tuesday. Wednesday Wednesday or Tuesday was the day that our president announced that would pull the troops out of Syria. Now, for those of you who don't know, Syria is the country where um, Obama drew his red line, and that red line was drawn because uh, Assad was poisoning people with chemical weapons. And we won't get into what happened that time because, I mean, it's just, you can't really figure out what happened because, you know, Obama's presidency might as well have not counted because the Republicans had the House and Senate and they basically obstructed the whole time. Well, you know, the second part of Obama's presidency. Um, but you know, that's what ended up happening. Obama went to Congress and they wouldn't vote on it or whatever. Um, so here's this man who is poisoning his people with chemical weapons. Uh, a barbaric act. I mean, who is this person if he's even a person? And to make things worse, Russia is in Syria. Now, Russia is in Syria because um and you know, I guess we're all going to figure this out together at the same time. Russia is in Syria because they're fighting ISIS because Syria is ISIS's that's their last stronghold. That's basically their HQ. This is their last bastion, um, Syria. And so Russia has committed to fighting ISIS there. Now, the problem is when Assad poisons people with chemical weapons using like jets and stuff or whatever. He's not doing that to ISIS people. He's not fighting ISIS with chemical weapons. And this is all public knowledge. I mean, this is what gets out there, out in the news. We just all haven't pieced it together. Um he doesn't fight ISIS with chemical weapons. He's killing his own people, the people that have decided to rebel against his government, which are also opposed to ISIS. I mean, you got to figure that because you know you don't really. I don't know. I don't really hear of too many ISIS attacks in Syria. I mean, basically they take a city or what have you, but most of ISIS's most of ISIS attacks happen elsewhere in Iraq all the time, Afghanistan all the time, almost every week, and then sometimes in Asia. Um, I mean, we could try looking this up, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. My point is, Trump, he was very vocal about what he would do. He said he was gonna build the wall and have Mexico pay for it, which will not happen. Um, he said he would take care of immigration. He tried to do that. Um, other stuff, whatever. But he said he would fight ISIS. Like, he basically said he would destroy ISIS. And okay, I mean, whether you're for protecting the troops or not, I know I am. I'll pull out of any war that isn't entirely necessary. That we don't depend on. That our victory doesn't depend on. Um, Regardless of your stance or whatever, um, it the having troops there fighting ISIS was necessary. It was necessary because, I mean, you have to admit, we've made real progress on the war on ISIS, and I'm not talking about like the terrorist attacks that happen. I mean, every day or whatever. And you know what? Is this gonna help the terrorist attacks? Is this gonna prevent any of them? No, no, it's not, because by pulling out of Syria, you're basically allowing ISIS to um to get money, to get more weapons. I mean, they're free to do what they. It's back to business for them, and regardless of anything, here's where we have an irregularity in messaging. Trump said he would destroy ISIS. Now, we haven't done that because we would know. He would have announced it. So, Putin, Russia's president, asks Trump to pull out of Russia, the man responsible for hacking our elections. He asks Trump to pull out of ISIS or out of Syria, and Trump does that. Now, we didn't destroy ISIS. Trump didn't destroy ISIS. He pulled out of Syria, a strategic hold against ISIS, and he didn't do it because he wanted to protect the troops or what have you. No, 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 no. Trump did it because Putin asked him, and I think that's why Mattis resigned. That's pretty much, I mean, I would have resigned too. I mean, I would have been heartbroken, man. Like, can you imagine that? Like, that's just like, if that's not what a traitor would do, I don't know what else. So, I mean, I feel like it's ironic because I feel like the walls are closing in on Trump. I mean, he's running out of causes. You know, he already did the massive tax cut. Which I mean, whatever. People don't care about that. Um, and he tried to get rid of healthcare. He couldn't. Um, the wall, the crazy immigration bans that lit up the news in the morning. Just you know, a bunch of things, and you know, he had this fighting ISIS or whatever, and I mean, he basically shot himself in the foot because you know, Putin being the bastard that he is, he probably made it known that that he asked him to that he asked Trump to pull out of Syria because of all that stuff with the NRA spy. And man, I don't know if it was a smart move on Putin's part, but you know, boys will be boys. Um, okay. Let's take a look at one. So let's go back a little bit. Now we're at the White House. Um, Trump has pulled out of Syria. Mattis has resigned. Now we haven't seen the letter because it's not released yet. Trump ends up releasing it later on. So almost immediately after it's announced, it's learned that Mattis resigns. Now this is at the White House. So what were we saying? We're at the White House. I mean, Paul Mattis had probably just left the White House. He probably just left because I mean, he probably went in person and delivered his letter. Um, and you know, he goes and visits Trump, leaves the White House, and all of a sudden, Paul Ryan and what's his name? McCarthy, I don't remember his first name. Um, these two guys emerge from the White House and they hold a presser. And I mean, I don't think anyone even knew this was going to happen. And let me tell you something. This is exactly when they announced that they were gonna go all in on this, and they were gonna support Trump and take up this crazy cause. Um, let's go ahead and watch exactly what happened.
All right, let me just start off right now. We just had a very long, productive meeting with the president. The president informed us that he will not sign the bill that came over from the Senate last evening because of his legitimate concerns for border security. So what we're going to do is go back to the House and work with our members. We want to keep the government open, but we also want to see an agreement that protects the border. We have very serious concerns about securing our border. So the president said he will not sign this bill. So we're going to go.
Oh, I couldn't really hear that, so let's try another one. Let's try this one, maybe.
The spending bill up in the air to fund the government. And just moments ago, we heard from House Speaker Paul Ryan at the White House. Take a listen.
The president informed us that he will not sign the bill that came over from the Senate last evening because of his legitimate concerns for border security.
Let's bring in senior congressional correspondent Manu Raju from Capitol Hill. Back here again in the same hour, Manu, same half hour actually, because.
Okay, so, I mean, hold on. How long is... Okay, this one has a little bit of...
We just had a very long, productive meeting with the president. The president informed us that he will not sign the bill that came over from the Senate last evening because of his legitimate concerns for border security. So what we're going to do is go back to the House and work with our members. We want to keep the government open, but we also want to see an agreement that protects the border. We have very serious concerns about securing our border. So the president said he will not sign this bill. So we're going to go back and work on adding border security to this, also keeping the government open, because we do want to see an agreement. With that, I'll turn it to Majority Leader Carthy.
We believe there's still time. We could have border security. We know fundamentally that's what America is asking for. It's one of the fundamental jobs, especially for a president as well. We had a great discussion within there. The president said what
basically,
what the Senate sent over is just kicking the ball.
I mean, this is just like,
down the road.
This
we
isn't
want to solve
even
this
like
problem. We want to make sure we keep the government open, and we're going to work to have that done
or
and get something
anything.
happen.
Anything that would prepare us for anything. No. This is what this was. I mean, I don't know. It's just it's you know, it's all the pieces are there. We just have to connect them. But I mean, a deal was a deal, a plan was in place to fund the government, and it didn't have anything about walls in it. And supposedly Paul Ryan was not really a part of that. You know, he was the guy that was pro defending against Russia and what have you. He was that guy. He was the guy that was keeping quiet. He wasn't getting involved in any of the alley brawls. He was the one that acknowledged that we were hacked and that we would defend against Russia. That was Paul Ryan. And all of a sudden, it turns out that he's part of the whole Trump thing. And man, I mean, what's there really left to say about that? I mean, we could get into it, but it's just so much to process. Wow.